Good evening, everybody. This is Lee, and I thought I would share a few of my little tricks that I do to these old transmissions, kind of give them a longer life. You know, I know they live a long time, but there's a few items that I do that might just make it a little bit better. Anyway, so I told you in that other posting about the set screw, or about the quarter 20 bolt and the fender washer. And the reason for that is I've honestly, in jams in the past and times we get together, I have seen a key fall out and leave a guy stranded. Luckily, there was some of us that had keys in our little emergency kit. But if you're out by yourself riding around and you lose a key, then you're stranded for a 25-cent part. Well, anyway, that's just a little safety net. Some people put blue Loctite on these set screws. I don't recommend that. These are double set screwed. If you get them to where you can't get them out, you just round them off, and then it's almost a destroying possibility to get them out. Well, this transmission's out of the 61 Little Red. It is the original transmission, and this is a one-owner car. Luckily, the seal on this end was neoprene, so somebody had changed it. But on the input shaft, the seal was rawhide, so it was the original. It was a Saginaw, and it was too large, and it leaks. So I did get a neoprene and put in it. Had to order it, new old stock actually, but they're available. I just found one on eBay. Well, anyway, on the shift shaft, you saw I put an O-ring in there, and that'll keep this oil from coming out. Now, there's another way to do that if you want. There's a valve seal that will work if it snaps right over this and lays right on that. And I think it's for an old big Wisconsin. I'm not sure. I can't remember what it was for. But I didn't have one, so I got O-rings, and I just put it in the lathe, cut a little groove, put a little grease on it, and it makes it slide fine. But grease won't come out of there. Before, when I got this thing open or got it out, there's a big old blob right there, and it had grease and dirt over the years. Had to chisel it away because it turns into asphalt. Okay, my grease of choice, I've showed you before, is double aught. It's about halfway between oil and grease. It stays in better than 90 or 30. And it lubricates as well. These are actually for snapper transmissions, and those are chain driven, so it's a good design. Now, of course, you put the right amount, the same amount as you would anything else, any other time, any other material. You put it in there through here. Now, this grease fitting right here was designed to feed this front bearing. This back bearing will get fed from here, but this grease fit can feed that one too. But in later transmissions, they moved it up here because this bearing was starving. So what I do is I take that grease and I put it in this little puppy, and you open the lid and fill it up with whatever you want, and then when you put it on there, this area right here will continue to come all the way up to this shoulder as you pump it in, and it empties it out. So I have had that at an angle. I've moved it since, but I had it at an angle earlier to let that grease come down here against this bearing and give it a good dose. And now, if you're going to go to a Comet clutch, now this is a CVT. First one I've ever put on, but Paul puts them on. They're on scooters. They're Canadian, very good made unit. So anyway, if you decide to go to a Comet, now I added a piece of shaft to the original shaft, so I can run an outboard bearing, and I'm using a nylock nut and a fender washer, or a big washer, because these two bearings here are Timken. So you want to set this shaft up like you were setting a front wheel bearing on a vehicle, or on an old vehicle. On some of your new ones, you don't have to do that. So you tighten this down just to take all the slack out so that the bearing can run in this race without being too much of a strain. Now, if you don't want to go with the extra, you can go with a longer shaft. Paul makes them. If you don't want to do that, then what I have done in the past and it works just fine, is the original shaft. I drill it 5/16 18, and I put in a piece of threaded rod. Now it's about an inch distance in there, so I usually would take a 3/4 piece of bar of stock and make a spacer about 1 inch, so that thread rod have something right in, because you have to drill a hole in it. Well, then you want to use a fender washer and a nylock nut on that 5/16 and set it up the same way, just tight enough to let it run right and not run too hard on itself. If you just these little old doodad, little things, just makes these little transmissions very durable and trouble-free. So hoping that some of you you're do-it-yourselfers and may have had a few questions about that. Anyway, I hope this is informative for you. You have a good evening. Bye-bye.